it going, everybody, and welcome back to One Soccer Today for this Tuesday, January the 16th. It is Oliver Platt, Jordan Wilson, and yours truly, Adam Jenkins, with special guests joining us from beautiful Southeast Calgary. Tommy Wheeldon Jr. filling in for Gareth Wheeler today as we start the program, continuing to chat from CPL. And Tommy, I mentioned it yesterday to the lads that I had the chance to go sneak in and watch the beep test, and I think I timed my visit to Foothills perfectly, because as soon as I left, minus 47, and you're getting 10 centimeters of snow tomorrow. What is going on in Calgary right now?
It's ridiculous, because I've sold all these foreign players and new players on how wonderful Calgary is in the first 2 weeks of training camp. It's been like an icebox. It's ridiculous, but I don't know what's going on. There's certainly a vortex that's going against us right now, but thankfully we're indoors and we're safe.
Indoors, safe, and prepping for Concacaf Champions Cup. Obviously, the excitement was brimming when I was there. I'm sure as it gets closer to the date, February 21st, Tommy, the lads are just getting more and more excited. How are the preparations going, and how is it adjusting how you typically approach the start of a season with this competition happening so much earlier than that mid to end April start time that you guys are used to?
I tell you, it's new territories for us. It's exciting because the players feel like they've earned this right, and they have, to be able to lift the shield as they did, and then to be rewarded with a place in CONCACAF, to now then learn who your opponents are in Orlando City. Bringing them a month back earlier was good, because now it's less of an off season. There's a lower chance of injury risk, and as Jordan knows, with the length of these off seasons, it's an important thing to try and stay fit. And if you've got 2 months to 3 months off, it's a challenge for your preseason coming back in. So we're a month earlier. Yes, it is cold, but we are using an indoor facility here at the Macron Centre. Good location, and then we'll be getting on the road and getting ready. But boys are in a good place. We've got a ton of players back in from last year, so you're starting at an elevated place than you would have been, say, last year when we had a bit more changes. The lads know what we want from the get-go, and now it's up to us to get that and then improve on that.
You've already started to add, Tommy, to that core group that you've got coming back. I wanted to ask you a little bit about Diego Gutierrez and what drew you to him. We've all seen him plenty, obviously, in the CPL now, and he stood out at Valor for a few years. And also just the situation with Charlie Trafford. Can we expect to see him back in that midfield with Gutierrez and Daly and the rest?
Yeah, absolutely. Gutierrez is a player that we call like an all-phase midfield. He's played at the base in a 3-4-3. He's played in an 8 position for Valor, and he's also occupied the number 10 off the striker position. So for us, that type of versatility is important. What we like about him is his quality. He loves to receive the ball and dictate the play. He's got a great range of passing. He can skip passes, and I think of the relationships of getting a Camargo, a Musi, a Maya, a Willie Akio. If you can get Guti facing forward, and he also contributes with goals. Not to mention, he's terrific on set plays, and also his running data. He's a typical midfielder that is very, very mobile, and very similar to how we had with Victor Lattori, where they got legs for days and could run 120 minutes if you needed them to. But on top of that, a great character. So we felt he was, as soon as we knew he was coming to the end of his contract, he was our number one target. We felt he would give us something that we didn't have, and I think we'll need that being in 4 competitions this year.
He fits right into the way you want to play, right? The new Cavalry, right? We've expressed your guys were elbows. It wasn't really that bad, but just a hard-nosed team before. But this season, we've seen both, right? And it's impressive just to do that turnaround. Usually it takes teams 2 or 3 years to get it going, but now you've had a chance to reflect on 2023 season. That was brilliant. What do you feel, or what area do you feel that Cavalry needs to improve to attack 2024?
There's only one area to improve on, to be honest, Jordan. That's winning the last game of the season, and that's it. I mean, that's not a bad data point to have, considering like I said, we've topped 2 regular seasons, 3 if you include the Island Games. We've been in all 5 of the playoffs. We've got to 2 finals. The only thing, and we've beaten an MLS side in Can Champ. So I think for us, the only obstacle we would like to do to tick off is to win the North Shield and the North Star Cup, and we were so close. So I think I've left other playoff games, and you've left it with regret that we didn't show up. But this one, we did. So it was more remorse at the way we lost that one. But when I've looked back, and you always do in the off season, is you take the first few days to get over the final, but then you look at the data points, you look at, most goals scored, least against, and you've gone to all corners of the country and won it by 13 points. That's a tough act to follow, but follow it we have to. And that's just the starting point. And we know everyone's going to be better this year as they were last year. So being consistent has to be key. But win the last game of the season is something we haven't done yet, and we'd love to.
You just mentioned 13 points clear, which is, it's not like it was neck and neck with another team. Like, you guys were outstanding, the top team in 2023. Is there pressure to go and do it again for you guys for 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. And so there should be. I think to play for the Cavalry, things are expected of you. Even though I think there's 6 of us that are from the founding group. When you come to Cavalry, you know that there is a pressure to win. There is an expectation to win. We've got the best home record in the league as well. Now we're playing against MLS groups, now the first to play against an American MLS group. We're looking forward to those challenges, but I would sooner wake up, people expecting things of you, than being one that was saying, oh, we're in a transition or we're doing this. I could have used that line last year or the year before. Reality is we're in a results business, but for us, winning behaviors come in multi forms. The sales of players, the points that we're getting, the attendances that are growing. And, this off season, I've had calls from MLS clubs about a couple of our management team. So these are winning behaviors that this club was built for.
How do you kind of think about how when you have been so far ahead, what kind of things do you identify in terms of taking that next step, Tommy? Because it's a league that, we've all seen is built on so much parity. We've got, for the first time ever, or for now at least, all 8 managers coming back from last season, which you guys are all very familiar with each other. What are kind of the things you can maybe add on to this team to take it even further?
Well, and I think you've seen that with our signings. We felt that, we had the transition, bringing Willie Akio back, and we had Gote for a little bit, and then Gote was going. We knew that was coming, so we were able to transition that one. I think what our recruitment team with Oliver Minatel and Tofa Kunli, they've done really well. We'll sit down and strategically look at what do we need to help us at the top end, and what do we need to help us in the development side for the next under 21s, because we have a sweet spot in that one. And Leon Hapgood and Jay Wheeldon have been great in that side, bringing through your Victor Latoris, Arabin Pepples, and now we're getting Michael Harms, sample it last year. But for us, Ollie, we thought Gutierrez was ideal for us in the way we want to play, that can cover all aspects of the midfield. You always need, in this league, you do need legs, you do need technique, you do need different ways to score a goal. Leighton Brooks, we felt, was a good young, hungry winger. He's got pace, he's got quality, and coming out of the Australian A-League as a young man, we think that's a really good league to draw from, as we've seen with the Australians in this league. And then beyond that, we've added Tobias Warszewski, and we'll just be announcing that one today as well. And he's a player that can fill multiple roles. Does he play down the middle? Does he play out wide? He's great from dead ball situations. He can score different goals in different ways. We've seen that he almost scored his own Olympico against Halifax at Clark Stadium, that overhead kick. He's a player that we feel fits our system. And then beyond that, we've got some really good youth sports picks and under 21 local players that we're really happy with what we're developing at, I guess it's become our stable of talent.
Yeah, the pun did not go unnoticed, and I do appreciate that very much. So many things we could pick up on there, but you mentioned Tobias Warszewski. We did bury the lead a little bit. Certainly a very exciting incoming transfer for you guys. And that pipeline where you mentioned, for example, Gote going out and some successes you've already had selling the likes of Joel Waterman and Urban Peppel. I'm wondering how you rate the new crop of talent, because I think of a guy like Eric Kobza, his fitness grows, his intelligence grows by the day, and he's just going into his sophomore professional season. Do you sort of tout him, Tommy, as maybe the next guy that could be on for a move like that?
Possibly, because I think what we're learning is it's, and Oliver's doing great with this. We're part of that transfer room that deals with sporting directors, technical directors, managers across the world. So, he's been on calls with some of the top European clubs and South American clubs. And it's obvious that when they're coming to Canada, and you've just seen this with Tajon Buchanan, is 23 and younger seems to be that sweet spot of talent, and the players coming through. And that's why the CPL is so good, is by leaning into this under 21 rule. it's giving players opportunity to play. So I look at Eric Hobson. Yes, he wasn't under 21. He was 21 last year. He's 22 this year. But already coming back into this preseason, he's put 5 pounds of muscle on. I look at, I've had Dominic Zator previously that had come out of university and into the pro game. And I look at Dominic Zator now as a man, and he's a physical, and Jordan, you played with him as well. He's a specimen. And if you have that as your base, their intelligence, their gameplay, and Eric certainly fits that bill. So we've got to make Eric better, and we've got to challenge him more. We can't just say, right, you've had a good season, because you've seen it before. One good season doesn't make you a good player. One good game doesn't make you a good player. You are what you repeatedly do. And I think that's what we've got to do with not just Eric, but look at what Mael Henry could do. Look at what, Maya Bevan, can he win the Golden Boot again? Can Ali Musi score or create more than he did last season? These are challenges that we're going to set for the players, because you've got to keep raising the bar.
Let's talk about that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I would jump in with one about that Champions Cup tie, Tommy, obviously against Orlando City. What changes for you in terms of obviously the venue, going to Starlight Stadium rather than having the game at Atco Field, if anything? And then also, based on your past experience, you've had success obviously playing against MLS teams and teams that on paper have a qualitative advantage. How do you kind of approach those games? Is it different in any way to the normal league games? Yeah,
absolutely. And different time of year. I think that's, you're in that preseason phase. We're used to competing or starting to compete in April and May. You're getting your wheels running. I think for us now is we got to look at them as a quality side. They really are. I mean, we've watched a lot of video on them. They were second in the points in the MLS last year. So we know they're a very good team in and out of possession. But previous to my time with Cavalry in the CPL, I spent a lot of time in the USL with the PDL side, and you get used to playing against American sides, and it is a bit different. So we want to lean on some of our experiences. Then you've got guys like Sham that have played in it, Monty that have played in the States, that you've got to be able to be prepared. In terms of the location, we'd love to have played here. That's the biggest disappointment on it, but with the rules that CONCACAF have and the timelines that they give us, we're forced into a decision, because you never want to be in a situation where you're trying your best to play on Atco Field come February 21st, and a referee from Costa Rica or Panama says, no, it's too cold to play. And then you've lost that opportunity. So I never want to lose that opportunity. It was a tough decision to make, but one we needed to. And going to Starlight, it is a terrific stadium. I think we've got a decent record there, to be fair. But it's still not home, but we've got to try and make it home. And that's one of the additional challenges. But like we've always said, in all our time, one of our mottos has been, or our motto is, adapt and overcome. And we're going to have to lean into that as well.
Yeah. Speaking of making it your home, have you tasked any of the guys or asked the Starlight crew if you can paint some of the seats red to take away some of the purple that'll be there?
Yeah. I think we're giving out free red T-shirts on the door to people. Yeah. I know. What are the chances you're playing at Starlight against a team that represents in purple, and you draw against a team that plays in purple?
You got to bring that the grass horse by the benches. That's one of the iconic.
Home from home.
We'll let you run to training. I want to leave you with this, because I'm sure we'll be speaking to you plenty before the CPL season gets underway. But just when you talk about the forever first with this club and everything this club tries to accomplish, I mean, you've ticked off just about every box, but I can think of two. You already mentioned one, that's winning the last game. So how much would getting a result in Concacaf Champions Cup mean for Cavalry and set you up for the year?
Oh, of course. I mean, start the season as you mean to go on. It's a new challenge, and it's one that we'll embrace. So, like I said, we'll give all our respect to Orlando City and what they've achieved, but we did exactly the same to Whitecaps in 2019, and we played them over two legs, and nobody expected anything of us. So it'll certainly be tough circumstances, but I see the way our players are carrying themselves. They're ready to give it their best effort, and we're going to play them the way we play them. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity, and to get a result in that, that'd be great. I mean, we're comparing our salaries. We're on $1 million budget against something that's 20-25 million US or beyond. So, but why not? It's a good David and Goliath story to be had. That's what the magic of the cup.
On February 21st, we're certainly looking forward to it. Tommy, thanks for joining us. We'll let you get to training. We appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, gents.
Tommy.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Tommy.
Bye.